my dudes, my buddies, my G's. Ian Taylor here, and we are back with another blind reaction / analysis video. Yes. As you can see, I tried to keep her out of the room while I was recording, but God, she's just too cute. So you might hear a little purring here and there if she decides to stick around with us. This is Mia in my lap here. And now she's nudging the table. Awesome. We're off to a good start. Well, we are in for a treat today, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know why? Not just because this pretty face is hanging out with us. No. We will be delving into Ren Dominoes. And I couldn't be more thrilled. This was highly recommended to me in the comments of a lot of my previous videos. And I hadn't gotten to it yet, even though it's been suggested since the very first video that I dropped on this channel. Obviously, we have a lot of music to sift through, right? So I'm not going to get to every recommendation right away, but I did want to dive into this one. It looks like it's a really cool song. From what I've seen in the comments and stuff like that, nobody spoiled anything, which thank you guys. When you do give me the recommendations, don't spoil the song, right? Because that's kind of the point of these reactions, is to do the first initial reaction. So if you do recommend something, don't tell me what the definition of the song is or what the song is about. Just kind of give the suggestion and just say, oh, it's a beautiful, amazing track or something like that. Like don't be like, you should do the tale of Jenny and Screech because it's a tale of two twins who, like, you know, if somebody had commented that before I had delved into the tale of Jenny and Screech, which is my biggest video on this channel, I'd have been really sad because then it wouldn't have been a genuine blind reaction. You know what I mean? But luckily nobody did that, and nobody's done that so far with any of the songs that we've actually reacted to. But there are a few songs that I can't really do a blind reaction to anymore because some people have spoiled them in the comments. So with that out of the way, though, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive right into Ren Dominoes. The dude, the buddy, the G, the guy, the man himself, Ren. It's been a few days since we've done a Ren reaction, so without further ado, let's go ahead and let's dive in. Yes. And remember, this is a blind reaction / analysis, so there will be pauses. Hope that's cool with you. All right, let's go ahead and rock it. You like that, Mia? You like that guitar? No?
Oh, okay. You feel this like dominoes falling. Oh, you feel this like dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes falling.
I think that might be the first time that I've heard Ren use a telephoned vocal. Which, for those of you who don't know, a telephone vocal, I think it's just a low pass filter on the vocal, right? So it makes it sound like they're talking on a telephone almost. And that's cool. I like that he did that. I haven't heard him do that before. I'm loving this instrumental so far. It's very cool. I'm interested to see what this song is about. He's saying, oh, you build us like dominoes. And then you build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. It's like, I can't tell who he's talking about yet, like who he's talking to, who the narrator of the song is talking to. It could be the government, it could be society, it could be corporations, it could be big pharma, or it could just be an individual person, but I don't think it is because it's like, oh, you build us like dominoes, so it's that plural sense. It's a lot broader of a scope, right? So I'm interested to see where he heads with this. That guitar in the beginning is beautiful, though. I love that.
Build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes falling. So bleed me of all my self-belief.
Oh.
My smile shows all my insecurities. In a kingdom of photoshopped kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Dominoes.
Oh, well, first of all, I love this like crunchy percussion. It's almost sounding like keys in the back. Like it's a really cool sound. I don't think I've heard it on really any other music before. It's like this super wide panned out percussive sound of almost like keys being dropped into your hand kind of a thing. And I really, really like that. That's very, very cool. His verse here is so good too. He says, so bleed me of all my self-belief, right? And And then he says, my smile shows all my insecure teeth, which is funny. I like the little pun there. In a kingdom of photoshopped kings and queens, we'll never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. So I do think it's going to be about corporations, right? I do think that it's going to be about basically, like, you look at corporations, especially in America. I'm sure it's the same around the world, but I'm not that well traveled, so enlighten me in the comments. But a lot of times people or corporations will use marketing tactics such as, like, with makeup, they will utilize this beautiful model that, you know, is very, you know, has a very pleasant looking body, has a extremely beautiful physique, and is living this lavish lifestyle. And it's only about, it's literally only about being beautiful and playing off of these insecurities that a lot of girls have. A lot of girls may not feel beautiful, and they think that, oh, well, if I use this makeup, I can look like her. And it's just playing off the insecurity. That's all it's doing, even though every single human has their own version of beauty inside or outside of them, or both, you know? And even though it's not really a measure of self-worth with how fucking good you look, corporations will utilize that to sell. Oh my God, Mia. My cat is, she's extra. But yeah, it's a very interesting concept that he's playing with. And I mean, even on the opposite end of the spectrum, you look at men, like cologne commercials, right? There's a lot of cologne commercials where the dude's just being pursued by women, and it's this dude who's just jacked and built and has this perfect body. And, you know, the whole selling point is, if you smell like me, you can get women like me. You know what I mean? And a lot of dudes are insecure about the fact that they haven't had the best of luck with the opposite sex, right? And so it's just playing off that insecurity. I really like where he's heading with this. This is very cool stuff.
Photoshopped kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. I hide my head under the sheets, 'cause how can I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the shelves, forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Oh, you build this like dominoes, dominoes.
That's a really cool verse too, man. He says, I hide my head under the sheets, because how can I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the shelves, forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. That's, oh man, there's so much to unpack there, man. He's saying, like, he's hiding his head under the sheets because how can he face a world that ridicules the weak, right? He's saying that he's insecure too, right? He's saying that these people aren't just marketing to people that he sees, they're marketing to him. They're playing off of his own insecurities. So he doesn't want to be faced with that. He doesn't want to have it thrown in his face, his own insecurity, so he's hiding his head underneath the sheets. And then he's saying, like, beauty is sold on the shelves and forbid that we find it in ourselves, because what corporations don't want us to think that we're perfect. They want to play off our needs and our wants in order to capitalize on the amount of money they can make off of us, which is why he says, and now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Very cool stuff, man. I really am enjoying the concept behind this song. It's a powerful message that he's talking about, and it's very true that, you know, the corporations don't give a shit how we feel. They just want us to use their product and buy their product and spend our money. So they're happy to play off of our insecurities in order to make the, you know, to increase the bottom dollar. So,
Shelves forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Oh, you build this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground.
I like that he had that the way the vocals tricks that he was doing there. It was kind of like this very wide layered vocal in the first half of that verse, and then when he says you build us back up just to knock us back down, funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground, there's none of that layering there, and it's very simplistic. It's very just one down the middle vocal. And it's kind of like when he's saying you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling, it is multiple people he's talking about, right? So there's multiple voices there. And then when he says you build us up just to knock us back down, funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground, that sounds like it's a lot more from personal experience, even though he is using the plural terminology. And so when he does that singular vocal, it brings our attention back to it. And then it's also the singular vocal of he's speaking from his own experience. He's speaking from who he is and what he thinks. And so it's cool. There's a lot of different stuff inside of that we could unpack. I like his little techniques there. Plus this beat is insane. So in the beginning it transitioned from just the guitar to having this cool like keys percussion behind it, right? And that was tight. And then it goes into this next part and it has this like synth that's like boop, 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 like very simplistic synth, but it sounds so wide because he has the panning kind of moving back and forth and all of this stuff on it. And I really, really like that. That's really cool. It adds this like pop feel to this song that's about a very serious subject. And I like that Ren has a really good tendency of doing that.
Oh, build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes.
See, he goes back to the wide there. I like that.
Araya was the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. But then, as soon as she turned 13, she forgot just how bright that it was that she gleamed. Stuck in the material world of magazines that glamourize fake and Photoshop beauty queens. Top 10 beauty tips making her feel inadequate. For the first time in her life, she felt ugly. So Araya stopped eating to lose weight. She spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face. But no matter how much she lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough, or so she thought.
Wow, so now he's introduced this character, Araya, right? And he says she's the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. Then she turned 13 and forgot about all that, right? She turned 13, and that's kind of the age of puberty. That's when a lot of people in general start really gaining these insecurities, start noticing all of these things about themselves that they may not like, and then they start comparing themselves to celebrities and models and things like that. And so it's very, very cool that he's introducing a person, like an actual character here about halfway through the song. And he even makes a point of saying that she was beautiful and she thought that she was beautiful, and then it says for the first time in her life she felt ugly. Top 10 beauty tips make her feel inadequate. You know what I mean? That's very cool. That's very cool. That he's kind of getting there. And then he goes into a big issue in society is, bulimic, anemic, not anemic, bulimic behavior of like either you stop eating or you throw up after you're eating. I think that's bulimic. And then anorexic. Anorexic is the one where you just stop eating, right? And that's very prevalent in American society. There's tons of teenage girls that are dealing with that, and it's very sad. And I like that he's talking about it. He says she spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face. Man, because I'm sure that there's plenty of girls who have done that. I'm sure that there's plenty of people out there, not just girls, but dudes too, who have done that exact thing. And it's I love that he's talking about this. It's an important subject that needs to be talked about, and not enough people really do.
How much she lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough, or so she thought. Araya felt she could never be loved. She started cutting her wrists and hiding her scars with gloves. At 16, an anorexic beauty queen, she collapses in a puddle of her tears and blood, cause she never felt enough. She never felt enough. Your sellers told this lie that we must buy to keep in touch. We can never buy enough, never buy enough. All the riches in the world can't buy a sense of self-love. Funny how you act surprised when depression's levels rise, when you force feed inadequacy straight into our eyes. Television shows that praise the beautiful people, and talent competitions that just laugh at the feeble. Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine, molded like a factory. We're growing up to fear, feeling ugly. It's lunacy.
Oh my goodness! So I'm sorry for pausing here. I know it's the climax of the song here, but we need to unpack some stuff, man. He brings it from talking about this girl, Araya, and he even says collapses in a puddle of her tears and blood because she never felt enough. She never felt enough. So she starts cutting her wrists and hiding her scars and things like that, right? Well, I mean, me personally, I when I was in middle school and early high school, did have a self-harm problem. I definitely did have that going on in my world. So hearing those lines definitely cut me pretty deep, no pun intended. And then, I mean, she says he says at 16, an anorexic beauty queen, you know, and so she's still beautiful. She's still all of these things that she's striving so much to be, but she still doesn't feel like she's enough. And so she cuts too deep and she collapses in a puddle of her own tears and blood, you know, and that's just so sad and so tragic that's a true story for a lot of people out in the world, you know, and then he kind of takes it away from Mariah there and goes, you sell us all this lie that we must buy to keep in touch, but we can never buy enough, because all that they want at the top of the, you know, in the top 1% or the leaders of these corporations, they just want us to keep buying shit. They don't give a fuck what they're doing to society. They don't care what the effect of their product is having on, or their marketing schemes are having on society's mental health. You know what I mean? They have no fucks that they're giving, right? There's no fucks to give there. And so he's really playing with this concept of you can never buy enough because the rich will never be satisfied, right? They will never be satisfied. And honestly, neither will the poor. It's a two-ended spectrum there, right? And so it's very cool, but that's the thing, is all the riches in the world can't buy a sense of self-love. That is so fucking factual. So fucking factual. In order to love yourself, you have to shed all of that materialistic thoughts, right? You need to say, I'm good with who I am. That's not saying that you're content. That's not saying that you're not striving to be better. That's just saying that you like yourself and you give yourself a little bit of credit, you know? Back in the day when I was going to therapy, my therapist gave me this piece of advice and it really, really worked wonders with me. You know, he basically said, that if you treated your friends and talk to your friends the way that you talk to yourself in your head, would you have any friends, or would everybody hate you? And I was kind of like, well, I feel like everybody would hate me. And he goes, well, then no wonder you hate yourself, you know? And that's just such a true thing. It's all about perspective, right? Self-love has nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with material objects. It has everything to do with your self-perception and how you speak to yourself in your mind, right? You need to be kind to yourself, because if you're not kind to yourself, well, the world's not a kind place. So you're kind of out of luck if you're not being nice to yourself, if you're not talking to yourself with the same respect that you would give any other person, you know? And I know that's a hard thing to accomplish, but it's such a true sentiment that Ren is playing off here, you know? It's very, very true. Very, very true, and very, very relatable to not just me, but I'm sure tons of people out there, man.
People and talent competitions that just laugh at the feeble. Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine, molded like a factory. We're growing up to fear, feeling ugly, it's lunacy.
What is plasticine? Is that just plastic? Is that what it is? I don't know what that word means. Tell me in the comments.
People turn to plasticine, molded like a factory. We're growing up to fear, feeling ugly, it's lunacy. A knife in the community, cause insecurity breeds judgment, judgment breeds hate, no unity. And hierarchy based upon aesthetics is what makes a kid in school get bullied for genetics. And I felt so ugly growing up, the way that I look sometimes got me beaten up. I mean, what the fuck sort of culture do we live in? When
the way that I looked got me beaten up, you know? And I love that he's able to tap into this side of himself that, you know, I mean, I'm sure that Ren has a lot of self-confidence nowadays. I'm sure that he still deals with insecurities and things like that. He's only human, you know, but he's able to kind of bring himself down to the level of kind of the stuff that he's talking about, and he makes it, he personalizes it and brings it to just him, right? He says, and I felt so ugly growing up, the way that I looked sometimes got me beaten up. I mean, what the fuck? Because honestly, what the fuck? I had braces and acne growing up in middle school and high school, and I was a small, skinny kid, right? And I got bullied regularly just for things that I couldn't help about myself, you know? Whether it be the way that I talked, whether it be the way that, you know, the way that I carried myself, because I do have a few feminine tendencies. I was raised by a single mom, right? And so it's interesting that he's able to personalize this on a way that really just it cuts deep for me, because I relate to this so much. It's interesting. Like in Colorado, when I lived out there, I kind of got this level of infamy that or not infamy, but kind of level of being known out in Colorado, and it was really, really weird for me because I was never the popular kid. I was never any of that. And then I would go into Walmart in my hometown, and I'd sign an autograph for a kid or something like that. You know what I mean? And it was so fucking weird to me and so odd. And Ren is this massively famous artist now, right? And he's still able to bring it down to a level that, you know, just a little underground artist like me kind of understands. And then even people without any level of, you know, public notoriety, which is completely fine, by the way. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but even people without public notoriety still will relate to this. Like, he's able to take all of the fame out of the picture and just talk about what it means to be human. And I really respect him for having that ability.
Got me beaten up, I mean, what the fuck sort of culture do we live in when we're defined by the shape of our face, when we're ashamed by the size of our waist, when we're imprisoned by the form that we take, and so we keep buying and spending. That's just how this story goes. You build us up just to knock us back down, and we just keep falling like dominoes.
And of course, he wraps it up in a very, very cool way, man. A very, very cool way. I'll never get tired of reacting to Ren's stuff, man. And I will always, always delve into music when he released his stuff, and I'll try and dive into as much old stuff as I can. But it's always something different. It's always something unique, and he's always just trying to help. You know what I mean? He's always just trying to convey a message that is important for people to experience and to hear and to analyze and to think about, you know? And that's why I love doing Ren reactions, man. I really, really do. And that song itself was just a gem. I think I said all that could be said, at least on my part, throughout the song, so I won't wrap it up with this long monologue like I usually do, but very, very impressed, man. That was Dominoes by Ren. The link to that video will be in the description of this one. And if you guys made it this long, man, consider liking the video. It does, again, help out so very much. And if you vibe, man, feel free to subscribe. Now, I'm going to include a song at the end of this one. This song is, I kind of figured out what I was going to do during that song, but I have a song called Domino, and it's not exactly the same concept or anything, but it does broach upon the you know, self-love and you know, that kind of ideology and things. I'll leave the interpretations up to you guys, but yeah, so if you want to stick around for that, feel free to. If you've made it this far in the video, you're an absolute champion, and I do appreciate it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction, guys. Okay, I really do. All right. Peace, love, prosperity, all that Spock shit, my friends. Stay fucking beautiful.
I've been on a roll, I'm not sure how far I will go. Things been feeling right, that's when things tend to domino. Watch us, down it goes, build it back up, that's how we roll. Again, down it goes, build it back up and down it goes. You ever been to work only a little in your shift and get a customer that wanna be a bitch? You ever built a business and the world hit a pandemic and now everything you're building is a risk? You ever had a boss that loves the way they talk, so they always gotta spread their fucking lips? You ever met a chick you thought would be your one and only that turned out to be a crazy fucking bitch? You ever sat at your computer with a paper, do a minute with a topic sentence and that's it? Ever finished taking God an A without a single clue as to how you just went and did that shit again? You ever sat at night, alone and sipping wine, kinda sad and kinda horny all the same? You ever rubbed it out to get that dopamine to drip again and found that in the end you feel the same? It's like, that shit ain't meaningless, it's a cold world, best believe in this, but that's progress. It seems a miss, but we have come a long way while seeking this. That's happiness, but what's happiness without the pain that does get dragged with it? Like you can't have one, not without the other, so let's buck on up, get about this gutter. You ever been that person that built a little castle in the sand only for it to crumble down? You ever made it where you wanna be in life and everything is seeming nice but you were feeling down? You ever had a cigarette you thought would be the last and then you buy another pack because of stress? You ever hit your head into the walls till life falls apart in front of you and then clean up the mess? You ever been so close to suicide that you were choking but it broke and then you put the rope away? You ever taken it back out and looked at it and wondered maybe if today is gonna be the day? You ever made your mama cry because she saw your arms and all you wanted to do was just run away? You ever made her cry because you made her proud of who you are and who it is that you were gonna stay? I've been on a roll, I'm not sure how far I will go. Things been feeling right, that's when things tend to domino.
Watch us, down it goes, build it back up, that's how we roll. Again, down it goes, build it back up and down it goes. I've been on a roll, I'm not sure how far I will go. Things been feeling right, that's when things tend to domino. Watch us, down it goes, build it back up, that's how we roll. Again, down it goes, build it back up and down it goes. You ever been surrounded by a crowd of 90 people, but inside you know that you were all alone? You ever seen your family calling you, but you can't even bring yourself to go and just pick up the phone? You ever had a dad who ain't really a dad, and all you wanna do is see him burn? Fuck you. You gave that man a chance and now he's asking for another, and you tell him that it's something he won't earn. Hell no. You ever had a bully push you down and spit upon you in the morning when you're showing up to school? Ever notice how the bullies tend to end up hitting you up in the end and tell you that you're pretty cool? Oh yeah? Ever notice you ain't care, ever notice you ain't care about the way they have a feeling about you? Fuck off. Ever looked inside the mirror and kinda like the person looking back at you? I swear to God, that shit's a mood. It's like, that shit ain't meaningless. It's a cold world, best believe in this, but that's progress. It seems a miss, but we have come a long way while seeking this. That's happiness, but what's happiness without the pain that does get dragged with it? Like you can't have one, not without the other, so let's buck on up, get about this gutter. I've been on a roll, I'm not sure how far I will go. Things been feeling right, that's when things tend to domino. Watch us, down it goes, build it back up, that's how we roll. Again, down it goes, build it back up and down it goes. I've been on a roll, I'm not sure how far I will go. Things been feeling right, that's when things tend to domino. Watch us, down it goes, build it back up, that's how we roll. Again, down it goes, build it back up and down it goes.